Okay, officially welcome to our January 2023 first Monday Zoom. That's my first time saying the year 2023, I think. Anyway, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. I have a topic that I'm kind of passionate about. Denise has heard this before, and I was trying to think if anybody else had heard this, but oh, I just saw a spider on my floor. I'm gonna let him just be. It'll be fine. I'm gonna keep my feet up. It's tiny, but I'll be okay, right? It'll be fine. Okay. I should start over the recording. No, I'm pretty excited about this topic because I feel like we all can get, well, in the beginning of the year, we're feeling really good and everything feels fresh and it's a time to start over and do over. But then you guys know we are adults. We know we've done this a few times where you get a few months in or half a year in, and by the end of the year, the things that we all say that we're going to do, we're not doing all of them. And so when I was texting my team, I was telling them, like, we know we can't do everything. So what are the things that we are going to do when you do have only a certain amount of time? And we're all at different places in our lives. Some of us are working other jobs in addition to our Scentsy business. Some aren't. Some of us are taking care of kids or grandchildren or elderly parents or who knows. And then some of us have health issues. We've all got things that we're dealing with and we are doing besides Scentsy. It would be really nice if we could just sit in a room all day and contact our customers and take care of them and, do that kind of thing. And I think that's the difference. That's the beauty of having this job with Scentsy, is that you can do it whenever you have the time. You can do it late at night. You can do it early in the morning. You can do it, 1 hour every single day or just on the weekend. Like, you can customize it to really work for you. But at the same time, sometimes if it's not a priority on the front of our minds, it's one of the first things that we let go. And we don't want to do that because we're passionate about it, right? We love our products. We love the company. We love that we make money. And so how do we make sure that we have time for it and do the things that are the most important? That's what we're going to focus on, because I am here to tell you that you don't have to do everything that you see in a training, and you can't. You shouldn't. So this is an exercise that I'll tell you the backstory. This is an exercise that I first did. I wrote down in 2015 with my husband because I had a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and I was so overwhelmed. Like, I'm a superstar director with Scentsy. I love it, right? I'm passionate about it. I really love it. But it was like I couldn't get done everything that I wanted to do. And I was getting really frustrated because I felt like I could do better than I was. And so I told JP, I think we're at the point where I would like to put our kids and Mother's Day out 2 days a week, few hours. And he was like, what? You quit your teaching job to stay home with our kids? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this is not working for me. I am losing my mind. I need to have a better system, right? So as a superstar director, I'm not just working with my customers and doing their orders for them, right? Like, I have responsibilities. We're doing this training. I send emails. I do some different things. So I was like, this isn't working for me. And so I came up with a list of everything that I do. And I showed him. I thought, I prepared, you guys. I spent some time. I sent the kids to like grandma's house. I planned dinner. And before he got home from work, because I told him we're going to have a business meeting, and I made a list of all the tasks that I do for my Scentsy business. And when I got home, he was really sweet, right? I'm showing him my list, and he was like, well, I'll show you. I wrote time analysis. This is my original one, time analysis. And I wrote down, like, okay, I spend an hour on a leadership call once a week. I probably spend an hour post office prepping, driving, and waiting. Yuck. Thank you, pirate ship. That's just me. Oh, I don't do that anymore. But I mean, I do prep stuff to mail and all that. Like, but I like told him, look, I like spent all this time, and I said, this is my time analysis, and he said, okay, that's a list, but we can do an analysis of your time, because that's what he did for a living at the time. Was basically he's an analyst. So we sat down and we analyzed my list to determine what was the best use of my time. And then anyway, so as the story goes, so then we decided, okay, this is how much money it takes, you know, to take the girls to Mother's Day out, blah, blah, blah. And is it actually worth, we'll analyze it again. We'll look at it again in a year. So we did, and it was great. And it worked. I did start making more money when I put more time into my business. But what I want to do tonight is share with you this system that I have been doing pretty consistently since then. And this is something I typically do after SFR, after a Sensley family reunion every year, because how many of you guys you've watched Sensley family reunion, or you've been to a world tour or any kind of training? Usually what happens is I have pages of notes and ideas, and I want to start doing everything. And, you know, I'm like kind of struggling with time as it is. So how am I going to start implementing all these new ideas that I have? Like, where does that fit in? So what I do is I sit down and I write down a list of all the things I'm currently doing. And I write, and then I add in the ideas that I want to start doing. So what I want you guys to do is, if you're not going to do it right now, maybe take notes on this. But I think it's worth spending 10 or 15 minutes. Really probably all the amount of time it's going to take you to do this. But write down everything you do for your business. Ideas are responding to messages, sending out any kind of a newsletter. Do you send a paper something? Do you send an email to your customers? Do you make samples? Do you even like inputting orders, delivering orders? If you deliver orders, follow up, contacting customers to host parties, sorting orders, packaging orders. If you make whiff boxes or scent crates, or, you know, the special ones, you guys can throw out other ideas, but there are so many tasks that we have. So make a list of everything that you do, and you might like leave space at the bottom, because you're gonna remember some more things. This might be something that you need to like kind of add to. I'm trying to like ordering stuff, like if you've got to order by stamps, if you've got to order bags, or, you know, whatever. Make a list of everything that you do. And then what we're going to do is we are going to decide what activities are the most income generating. So I use this example a lot. And if you like to make cute samples, please don't, I'm not like picking on you, but I used to feel like I had to melt my wax and either use like anyway, I used to make like cute shaped samples, and they are so cute. And I bet my customers loved getting them. But when I looked at my time and I thought about it, my customers can get like a little sliver of wax that I cut off with a butter knife or a little crinkle cutter, and they can use it the same way that they could use a really cute one. And because I don't like making the cute ones, it didn't help me, like it didn't bring me any joy. And for my customers, I thought like the amount of time it takes, like I should just give them whatever wax they get. They'll get what they get. They won't throw a fit. And so that's one of the things that I cut down on. I also have recently, in the last few years, like stopped doing as much driving and delivering. And I know that we have some people, like Denise will tell you, that's when she connects with her customers. I'm talking about you delivering, Denise. And so like that works for her. But for me, I was doing a lot of porch drop-offs. And when I do, it's still just basically a porch drop-off. They're not home. And so I've been with my new customers, I've been kind of acclimating them to come do a porch pickup for my house. Trying to think of like time savers or different things. But basically, you're going to look and you're going to decide what makes me the most money. And I will tell you, for me, making samples and handing them out is something that does make me money. Every time I sample something new or I sample new scents, I do have customers when I put them in their orders. They'll turn around and they'll say like, oh, I love that scent you gave me. Can I order some bars of that? So that's one that like is a moneymaker for me. So everything that is a moneymaker, an income generating activity, some people call them IPAs, income producing activities. You're going to put a you're going to put a dollar sign next to it. So like follow up with customers, you might even put $2 signs next to that. Like if you follow up with your customers and that's something that you know like consistently gets you more orders, then that's probably something that you should put as a double dollar sign. Things like contacting your customers whenever there's a join special or when you're wanting to book parties. I'd say booking parties is probably a pretty big income producing activity. And I would also bet that it's one that you let slide because it's not really urgent. Like it's not the same as telling your customers about the new Star Wars product that's coming out. That's kind of urgent. It's time sensitive, but booking parties is like, oh, I don't have to do that right now. I'll do that later. But then like you go months without doing it. I would, if Samantha's smiling. I know she's like, don't look at me. I know, I get it. I'm telling you from experience. So write down booking parties or contacting, like be specific, contacting people to book parties. And then like, that might be $2 signs because you know that you're going to make money from that. If you need to spend an hour every other month trying to get into vendor shows, then that might be a pretty big income producing activity for you if you're booking a bunch of shows for your year. If you know you're going to make money from that later on. Do you guys have any questions or any ideas?
For me, one of the ones I wrote down right away was creating personal content. Takes a lot of time.
It does.
But I also find it's one of my most beneficial ways of sharing. But it's a catch-22 because it can do absolutely nothing outside of maybe be consistent. But it takes so much time. And Samantha's seen me literally do groups of things where I take them and like, she's like, why are you taking so many? I'm like, I have a day where I take like a ton of photos and I store them and then I wait and I post them. But like, I'm like, this is the day that I have time to take photos. That's all I've got. So, but it's trying to be creative or stay on top of things. Cause I'll have a plan and then sometimes you'll like post something and I'm like, son of a, like that kind of goes, at least now we have the planning guide. Like, oh my God, lifesaver for me. Cause I'd be like, hey, this is what I'm going to cover. And then they'd be like, we're going to drop these 7 specials. And I was like, okay, well, I spent a lot of time working on all this stuff. Now I'm like, do I focus on this? Do I do this? So their planning guide helps a lot now, but that for me is definitely a big time consuming piece.
Do you find that it's important that it's your very own personal stuff, or is it just like real life images? Because there are some groups that have like real life pictures of like
I combo that. I try to do a lot of my own. I definitely go through a lot of those. Like I love the real life Scentsy group stuff because I don't everything, especially when they're doing like the buy the warmer with the free waxes, right? Like I loved having multiple photos of showing off these warmers in the homes because the different lightings, different settings are gonna vary in their own area. And there's nothing like getting a stock photo, getting in your house, and then you're like, it doesn't really suit my area. So having the variety of really getting a good idea helps a lot. But I just found like, again, it's the more like that I'm using in my own home, I get better feedback off of than just sharing the flyers or my own. But again, how many times can I share this warmer? Like, right. So that's when I'll like it, like your wax change ups, right? Those kinds of basic things. And it's like, you want to try to do stuff that's current, but at the same time, you're like, well, it's not, but it's what I'm using. But
it sounds like you're working smarter by doing it all like in a clump of time. It's kind of scheduling it instead of spending all your brain power like spread out among.
And then you take the same photo 7 times to just start trying to decide, if this angle looked better though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you sat on your phone for 2 hours and you're like, all I did was look at the photos I've taken. So it's trying to edit that a bit as well. But I don't know if anyone else did things like that. But that for me was just one that you hadn't mentioned at this time versus. And like being smart on like when I check my workstation, we know Thursdays are our announcement days, and like trying to narrow those in off their lineups.
One thing that a lot of leaders do especially is they will track their numbers. There are business trackers that I can find if anybody's interested, and maybe I'll try to link one in the recording when I send that out. But is there one on the workstation now? There actually is, right? What do we call that? Where you record like your PRV for the day, like how many people are on your team and all
Like
that.
the power hour stuff, like ones, you mean?
Yeah. That's a good use of time, especially because it helps you stay consistent and get in front of your workstation every day. So while you're there, you can like look at the news, and it kind of reminds you about your business. If you're somebody who tends to let it fall, let it slide when things get crazy. For me, one of my huge things I have realized over the last several years is I have so many online customers now, and I keep thinking like, why do they keep coming back to me? You know, they live in different states, or I'm really, this isn't, you have to analyze it. What is it that makes them choose me and not choose to buy from somebody that they work with or whatever? Because I have been building consistently this customer base, and I am like, when I look at my spreadsheet that I started last August, I'm like shocked to see how many customers. Anyway, I consistently send them a thank you note. I don't even send it the same week or the same, like 2 weeks later. I send it the like 10th through the 15th of the month following their order. But they keep ordering. The same people keep ordering. I send them a scent circle. I send them, that's it. I send them a little ticket, and I do a little drawing. It's like a little gift for me. Like I say, join my VIP group, and yep, I say join my group, and I do a drawing on the 15th of the month. So I do that consistently, and so that is a huge income generating thing for me to keep on top of that. Yep. What else are you guys doing that you find are really income producing?
So I update my newsletter every month.
What do you put in it? So she's talking about when you subscribe to PWS, Scentsy sends a newsletter out to everybody that's in your contacts that you've got checked off to be subscribed. What do you do?
So I look and see what Cincy's going to write, and I usually leave that in there. But sorry, my allergies are terrible today. But I usually put something in there that's like relevant. Like I might, for the one that's coming out soon, like I usually have it in my planner because it's on the Scentsy calendar, like when it can be edited and when it goes out. So I might put in there something about like, I hope you survived the cold and whatever. I don't know. I might put in there something about, I don't know, I might try to sell some fresh nut pup and say that Moxie likes this scent or something, or like I'll throw in there something personal. Like I will talk about something I've done or something silly Moxie's done and link to a picture, or like say that we survived, or like I put in there like that I put up my Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. And I was like, so then I was like, message me back and let me know if your tree is up already or when do you put it up. And people that messaged me back, I sent them something. Like I wasn't asking specific, I wasn't saying message me or reply to get a surprise, but everybody that wrote back, I sent them a scent circle.
And so they probably will reply back and be very engaged and
yes,
open up
yeah.
your emails.
Or I don't know, I just throw in something there. Like I do tie it to, like I will, so they'll probably put something about bring back my bar in this month's newsletter. So I will put my like 3 or 6 favorites, and then I will say like I'm definitely adding it to club. Like I will throw that in there, and then that way they might ask me about it, because you have to hear about something like 6 times before you do it or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, I try to put something relevant to what's going on this month in Cincy. I try to put something personal, and I've been trying to ask a question that they might reply to.
I like that.
And I usually add a link to either my VIP page or my business page. I've been trying to send them more to my VIP page than my business page, but you know, it doesn't take a lot of time to come up with it, but I think about what I'm going to put in there rather than just like, hey, buy my stuff.
Mm-hmm. What else is something you guys find very income producing? Orlana, did you say whenever you when you're spending the time taking those photos and doing your content, are you also scheduling those posts, or do you save them to post just throughout the month?
Combo. I do the scheduling ones in my VIP group because I can. And then I'll just kind of like, my entire phone is like reminders to myself. How I live off of alarms. So I'll put like a note to myself that'll be like, post the laundry ones because I have just some days I do laundry, for example, right? So I'll be like, post this, or I'll just randomly be like, oh, I'm gonna change my wax now. I'll be like, it's been a while since I've done that. I should put it. So then I mix up between like my stories or just other sort of idea.
Okay.
Just to give it a variable.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say, because you talked about editing, was I was doing the party packs. Are you still doing yours? Okay, because I told my VIPs I'm basically not doing them going forward. Because our Facebook parties are pretty well dead.
Yeah, I haven't. I
didn't having success with them.
And I didn't do them.
Yeah, I find like anyone that sets it up, they're really just talking to their friends anyways. Like they're not really on the group. So it's like I've spent a lot of time, and I've paid for Visly, and I have to cancel that. But I want to go in and actually like save a bunch of the content. I figured I'd just cancel it really when we got to like the catalog change, in case there's any information that I did. Because I took like probably the equivalent of 3 weeks making my last fall winter one, hours wise. Like it was about 6 hours a day for about 7 or 8 days.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Yeah. So
whenever you do an analysis of your...
because I was right, but I had the same setup for the last like 3 catalogs. So I wanted to see if revamping that gave better content, better differences, a different structure to it all, just see if it would promote it better, right? Like, so the hosts that were doing it before, that were now doing it for the fall winter, we're getting like a fresh side of it. And it didn't do enough to qualify that time. So I did that. So I've given them the heads up that starting for the new year, even though the catalog hasn't changed, I'm just like, for the new year, I'm not doing them. Like, we can do a group chat.
Yeah.
We can maybe share with me. Oh, so Canada scored.
Yeah, what I found is I'm just sending the party links out and just letting them share that. And one thing that we've talked about a couple times, but I haven't worked on it, but I'm hearing some people talk about scrolling parties where you make like a basically a page, like a website, but it's just a landing page and it's just text and photos, and it will have links that go to your PWS, and your friend, the host can send that link to your landing page that has like a little bit about you, your favorite products, and your favorite things, or maybe the specials that are going on. So really you just update it with any specials, like monthly specials or whatever, but it could stay the same throughout the catalog. And all you're doing is it's not like scheduling things, it's just the content, the pictures and stuff. And I think like you can probably copy if we find somebody who has one on Canva. Anyway, so I hope to talk party? Like a what party?
Is that the block party one?
Maybe, but I hope to talk about that sometime in the future. Okay, so anyway, now you have your list and you're kind of looking and you're starting to think, what is sucking my time that's not really making that much money? You can let it go. Or what you can do is now prioritize your list. So now go back and rewrite it. That way, when you're starting off your week or you're starting off your month, you know which items you need to start with. So if you haven't been calling to book parties because it's not urgent, but it's something that you find is the most income generating. Or following up with your customers who have bought over the last month, or 3 months if you haven't, 6 months if you haven't done it ever. Start there and just contact them. Hey, I hope you loved your Scentsy that you got last month. Or I hope it was a great gift, or whatever. If you know that, how did it go over? And just ask how they're doing. Right. So anyway, that, where to start if you're prioritizing these now according to the most income generating. And then when you get down to no more time left, absolutely, you cannot spend any more time on your Scentsy business. You know that you got the most important things done first. And if you see that there are some things that are very important and you don't have enough time for them, you may need to look at a way to fit some more time in. I don't know if I have it written down, but a friend told us, what she does is she looks at her list and she decides, what can I delegate? So for me, I have a couple of ideas of things that I want either to find a customer or a friend that I can pay with Scentsy and see if they will do some of these easy tasks for me. So what can you delegate? Or to your kids, guys? Oh my gosh. I pay my kids a little bit of money, especially catalog change. I have these little buckets and I put like, okay, here's this. This is going to make you $5 if you do it. This is going to make you this much money if you do all these. And anyway, so what can you delegate? What can you dump? What does not matter? Like for me, making the cutesy samples, forget about it. I'm done with that. I'm not doing that anymore. And like I said, if it's something, I keep saying this because it's true. If it's something that you love, if you love doing this cute samples and that's part of why you love your business, then please keep doing it. But for me, that was a dump. What can be deferred? What is something like a project maybe that you're wanting to start, especially like after World Tour, after SFR, after hearing trainings, you think of new ideas. And like, I have a whole list on a Trello board of things I want to start doing, but they have not taken priority yet for me to spend the time like working them in. And so they're just in a little list that says defer. I'm going to work on you one day, but not yet. And one of them is a new, like, there's a website, an app called Hurdler, and it's business expenses. It's HURDLR. It's business expense tracking and stuff. So when tax time comes around, like you've got it all in one place, but it also does your mileage for you. So I think I'm going to dump my other mileage app and I'm just going to go with this one. So that was deferred until this month. I just got it set up today. Anyway, delegate, dump, defer, and do. So go through your list maybe now and decide like, what can I do later? What should I do now? Also, a huge tip I have for you is to start automizing things. That's not right. Yeah? No, doesn't sound right. Find a way to make things
Automate?
work. What?
Automate?
Yeah. To get things automated for you so that you're not having to spend your brain power on it. Okay. So what I do is this: if you've got all these ideas floating around in your head and you're walking around, this is just a life skill. But if you're walking around every day thinking I have to do this and this and this and this, oh my gosh, you're spending too much of your brain power on that. And it is not a good way to live. I know. So find a way. If you're somebody who always has your phone on you, then there's like a to-do list. There's an app called Things 3. I'm trying out Trello, but it's not great for a to-do list. So I think I'm going to go back to Things 3. There's just notes on your phone. There's all kinds of apps where you can just make a list really easily. One thing, you guys, I do is if I can't get to where I can make a note on my phone, or if I can't get to where I can like write it down on a piece of paper, I send myself an email, because I'm going to see that night or the next morning. At least check my email every morning and then right before I go to bed, and I'm going to see those things and then I can add it to my other app. So if you have to do that, that's fine. Also, if you have an iPhone, I don't know how the Androids work, but I'll say, remind me to call Jess when I get home. And then like, if I'm out, when I roll up to my house, I'm going to get a pop-up notification saying that. Remind me to get the Christmas cottage bar for Denise when I get home. And then I'm going to remember to set that out, or it will remind you at certain times. Otherwise, like Arlena was just saying this, like everything is a reminder on here because I cannot remember it otherwise. If it's important, it has to be on here. So the other thing is I have a huge to-do list. It's all technical. It's all like a to-do list. It's just a big brain dump. I would really find a place to have a brain dump of all the things that come up that you think of throughout the day. Then you also need to have a list of what you do and when. So after you have your prioritization list, the things that are brain dumped, you know, those might go onto these lists, or that might be kind of separate that you need to add to every day. But I also have a list. Sorry, I'm backing up a little because I forgot about this. I also have a list. I don't know that I want to show it, but I have a list. Right now it's on Trello, but I might be moving it. But like I have on Tuesdays, which is my work day. These are the things I do the first week of the month, the second week of the month, the third week of the month. And it's like automatic. It pops up every time the month we have a new month. My reminders pop back up that I need to do this because it's the first Tuesday of the month. These are the 5 things that I do for my business. It just shows me what I have to do. And then the same thing for Thursdays, because those are like my 2 days that I kind of have right now that I've carved out time. So I recommend a brain dump, but I also recommend like knowing what you're going to do when you have your pocket of time to work. You know what you're supposed to do. So additionally, I have this little thing, these cheap little papers from Amazon where I can put it all down together. So I look at my brain dump, I look at my stuff that I do every Tuesday. And like tonight, I just wrote down, like, these are my tasks for tomorrow from my list that's on my computer, which I could just check off there. But man, I really like to see it right here when I'm working and check it off or circle it or cross it out. Like I really like that. But yeah, so I don't know, this really helps me to narrow it down when I have a work day, to not be like, what do I do? What do I do? Because you can spend so much effort trying to figure out what you should do instead of just getting right to work. So if you know you're going to have a Cincy work day, man, if you can like spend some time the night before for 5 minutes and decide what it is you want to focus on, you're going to spend your 1 hour or your 2 hours a lot more efficiently. Anything you guys have to add to all that? I've just been talking. No? All right. Anything else about anything, priorities, to-do lists? How do you get it done? I thought we'd go over announcements next. I have a box of Bring Back My Bar and Valentine scents that I haven't smelled. Can you believe it? I had COVID and I couldn't smell when they arrived, and I couldn't smell until like 3 weeks later or something. And it was the worst. I didn't feel bad. I felt fine. I wasn't really sick, but I was so mad that I couldn't smell because I couldn't smell my Christmas cottage. I changed it for my family, hoping they could smell it, but I couldn't really smell it. I would walk right up next to it. So I'm going to break open my box tomorrow. I've saved that as a reward for myself. When I do these other things, I'm going to open up my stuff. Have you smelled them? Are there any that you love?
I'm glad Flirtatious is back. That's my favorite. That's going in my club.
Right on. I'm happy for you. That was a popular scent when it was around. Okay, I might open them tonight. Now I'm like really, really tempted. And I just
Sam, you didn't smell yours yet?
Holy shit.
Hmm?
You're muted.
No, I smelled them. Perk Me Up is my favorite.
I told you. That's what I said. I've been voting for that one for like 5 years. Finally made its way back in.
It's gonna go in club for sure. So
Isn't apple press one of them?
yeah.
That is my favorite. I like Johnny Appleseed, but apple press is my fave. And that with pumpkin roll in the fall, ooh, it is a good combo. So maybe grab a couple and stock up or put it in your club because I'm gonna get it in my club. Have you smelled the Valentines, you guys? Now I might go grab them. I'm so tempted. What do they smell like? Are they good?
The Valentines are good, I think.
Are they
I've
real
heard some people
floral?
say like all of them, they really like them.
They were pretty good. They're pretty good. Yeah, they're florals. But they're good. I don't know.
Okay.
I love the flower changing colors. Oh my.
Okay. Here's your job. If you haven't smelled these yet, your job is to get an order ready, contact your customers. If you're like, well, I haven't done anything yet, it's fine. Neither have I told you. Get an order ready, contact your customers over the next week or week and a half and gather enough up so you can place your party order and you're going to get your bars. You're either going to add them as a business supplies, create a customer named business supplies so you can keep track of it because that's an expense, or get them with your free and half price if you're the hostess and you've got some. Pick out some of those bring back my bars that you think are good because now you've got your orders placed from customers doing follow-up. Then whenever you get this party order in, you're going to have some new scents that you can either give samples out or at least give recommendations for. So that's my advice to you. So we have, let me pull up my list. We've got bring back my bar. It's also double half price rewards. So if you can follow up with some people and somebody wants to do their own party or they say, oh, I have a big order I need, or me and my friend need something, encourage them to put their own party together so they can get double half price this month. And they did confirm that it's not just parties, right? It's not just parties that open this month.
Nope, because I was going to order my supplies. I was talking to Samantha about it actually. And then when they confirmed on the 30th, I just waited because I had a bunch of online orders. So I got to use my double half offs to buy. So I bought all my stuff on the 1st, along with like a couple orders. So I'm waiting for my stuff to come. But it was great because I got to like utilize all those half offs. I think I had like 8 at that point.
It's like a ton sometimes. Like you're like, what do I get with all of this?
Amy.
And then we're gonna have a zebra buddy coming out this month. And then they said that so the vanilla bean buttercream Scenspirations was such a hit, and consultants, I think that we loved the scents, but also just the idea of it was really, is that the go-go mango? What is that scent?
Mango margarita or whatever.
Remember, like she said, they're doing the free, like the testers in the whiff boxes now are going to be
of upcoming stuff like that.
Upcoming releases.
Oh, that's really fun.
That mango margarita is the go-go mango collection, right?
Is it good?
Oh my god, it smells so good.
Okay.
I don't even like go-go mango, but I love mango. But go-go mango to me doesn't smell like mango.
So they're gonna do a mango collection that's a variety of like go-go mango inspired and like scents. So people who like fruity stuff, like that could be a big one that we promote. So I guess that's coming out in February, but we're gonna be able to access buying it in January. Is it February or is it in March?
February.
February. And consultants is January 23rd, if I remember the right date.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the Monday. My daughter's birthday's the day before.
So yeah, if you haven't seen I'm so glad they're still doing the big planning ahead guide. All the dates are in that's on your workstation. You can search for it and find it.
Don't forget to write down your mileage.
Yes. Write down your end mileage. It'll be your start. It'll be your end and your start for this year for mileage tracking. If you're not tracking your mileage, it's a good business expense. I'm not a tax professional, but when I do my taxes every year, like it can really add up. So anytime you're going to do a delivery or meet up with your customer or go to an event or a party, any of those times, all you have to do is write your start and end mileage on like a piece of paper. Honestly, I don't even know. They may just care if you just write how many miles total you drove. But you can just do start and end mileage and then like keep track of that. Because I think in the US it's like, you know, it was at least 50 cents a mile or something, right?
It's a pretty good chunk. And so the tax guy that I used before, again, I'm also not a tax person, but I said, I don't have this exactly. And he goes, so just estimate how many times did you deliver to X people? And I said, well, I delivered to them. I know I delivered to them at least 6 times a year. It was probably more. So he goes, okay, estimate that you delivered to them 8 times. Figure out the mileage from your place to their place 8 times. So we did that. And so then I deliver to my hometown probably once a month. So figure out that mileage once a month. And he said, so that's how we're going to figure out your mileage. And you know, like how many times you go to the post office? And I said, well, I don't go to the post office anymore because I use this pirate ship. And I mean, I do go and buy stamps once in a while. So I put that in there like twice. But you know, like just things like that, you know, a few Target trips, you know. So just figure some of that stuff out.
I've been tracking mileage for my other business for like over 10 years. And what I do, honestly, I find so much easier is I just write down all the addresses that I need to go. And even when I have, because I'm old school, I like my order forms. Like I'll just write what day I've delivered theirs on. And then I take my stack. And that's one of those things I do once a month. But I literally have a sheet that I keep. If I can grab one so fast here, it doesn't even matter what month. But I'll just honestly have a sticky note most days where I'm just like, oh, written on like a scrap piece of paper. And I'm like, here's where I went today with like the date. And then I put it nicely once a month on a sheet here. Then for my Excel that I take with my accountant is I'll write all this stuff in. And I just use Google and I go, how many kilometers, well, for us, it's kilometers, right? So I was like, how many kilometers did it take from my house to get to this location? And from there, I went to here, 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 here. And then I have a total. And then it just auto tallies it for me at the end of the Excel. But a lot of my things are like you said, just scrap papers and sticky notes, or like you said, Amy, like I text myself going, okay, I went to Walmart, I went to here, I went to this liver, this one, this one, this one, this one in this order. So then afterwards I can always go look at their like or order forms and I can have their addresses and I'm like, okay, I went to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. But I do this every 3 months. So that way I just have to have my nice sheet. So when I sit down at the computer and actually do it, I know it's a lot of steps that way, but it's a lot easier for me to do it this way than try to do this consistently. So my scrap notes keep me going.
So
But
to
I
track,
just use
I
Google
have,
Maps, and then I just, if I long as I have the address, it tells me.
I have a question. So for tracking miles, do you also include like the times that you go to the store for like supplies?
Mhm.
Okay.
If it's anything business related, if it's something personal in between, let's say it's like I dropped my daughter off at a birthday party, around these errands, whatever, like I'll just write personal in there. And if they really want to get nitpicky, they can take it out. But I just send him all of it.
So the only thing is like I take Scentsy to work sometimes, but I don't put the mileage from home to work because my main reason for that drive is for work. I'm not going, you know, so if I was just driving from my home to my office at the hospital just to drop off Scentsy, then I would write that mileage off. But my main drive is to actually go work my day job. So then I don't put that in there. But that's from my accountant. So it could be different for your accountant, or if you just do like TurboTax or Tax Act or one of those other things, it might be different. But that's how my tax guy told me to look at it as.
Since we're on the topic of taxes, Denise, were you gonna say something?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it is the beginning of the new year. So anytime you do buy something, just put it, if you're going to a store, put it on a separate receipt. Just take the extra time to run your card twice and have your home stuff and have your Scentsy stuff. And then something that a friend taught me is to take a picture, because over the years, or over time, the receipts can fade and they're not going to be legible. And so take a picture of it. And that's one reason I am trying that app I was just saying, Hurdler. and I'm gonna keep track of everything. But also anytime that you spend something online, if it, like what I do is when I get my email receipt, I just drag that receipt over to a folder. I just made a new folder that says 2023 receipts. It's huge, so I can't miss it in my Gmail calendar, in my Gmail. I'm sorry, my Gmail. And so, yeah, I'll just drag it over. So anytime that a receipt comes through, it's going over there for me to mess with it later. Receipts are anything that you guys are spending as far as like marketing goes. There's like different categories that you'll find, but any postage that you spend, any marketing, any like business office supplies, like paper and pens and all of that, just keep track of everything that you're spending. And like Arlena was saying, she goes like once a month. Did you say once a month or every 3 months? And you update it?
I make sure once a month that if I've had a sticky note or anything that I'm usually pretty good about writing my tracking down because I have to do it with my clients for my other job. So I keep those 2 sheets together, and the other one I do every day. So it's just more if I left myself a sticky note or I've got that little receipt in the back of my wallet or whatever. I make sure like once a month I take all those receipts out, and then I make sure that sheet is filled out once a month. Then I do a quarterly bookwork. Like I do that for everything. Like right now I have to do October, November, December for my entire business closeout for my massage business, but I do the same thing. So I have my 2 folder sections down here. So green is massage and purple is Scentsy, and every month is there. So I just take the receipts and I grab them and I go, okay, great. Here's the dates. And then every 3 months every 3 months I do those 3, the quarterly that way. But just like I said, for the mileage purpose, otherwise I'm not going to remember if it's December and it's like looking at September, gonna be like, what day did I drive to Karen's house? So that way, like I said, I try to keep those ones pretty close. And then I just make sure that by the end of the month, I've gotten anyone that was like in my order forms, it's all tracked on there. Or again, I can usually look at my phone and be like, oh yeah, I went to Walmart that day. Is it written in there? So I can make sure that that one is done once a month. And then I do the full input every 3 months, give or take, because life happens and it's not perfect.
I really want to be better about keeping track of things and not doing it all at the end of the year. Going through my Amazon account and seeing what I ordered.
That's horrible. No, instantly I print the receipts. It's the same thing. It's like every Friday I have to print my insurance paperwork anyway. So it's like I've got that. So it's like you said, set the 15th of the month or something for yourself, right? Have that as a task that goes off every month for you, and it's print receipts. So if anything that's come through your email, if it was Amazon, if it was business supplies that you bought for yourself that you can find in your workstation, like anything like that, just make sure that you're getting a copy of it and keeping a folder somewhere. It could just be a simple, what's the big, manila envelopes, if you will. If you're someone who's not going to have a ton of receipts and expenses, just get one envelope for the year, if that's easier. If it's easier to grab a basic envelope, just write every month on it. And then the next month, just have then put that in the manila, so you can at least just go month to month and see what's there. Throw your mileage, fold it up, put it in there if that's what works for you. If the apps are better, then go for the apps.
It might depend on who does your taxes, but honestly, for a long time, I've done this where I have a Scentsy bank bag, and I have an envelope, and it's not by month, but it's like marketing, office supplies,
I then take those envelopes and break that into my Excel.
Yeah, and so that way, every time I do get a receipt, I just put it in the category, because that's how my tax people have always asked for the breakdown. Kendra asked, if you have a sticker on your car, are you always working? I don't think so. I had a big thing on my car for a long time, and the reason you have to put your starting mileage and your end mileage is because then they're going to ask you, okay, this is how many miles you drove on your vehicle for the whole year, and then how many of those were business and how many were personal, and that's how they'll know how to do your deduction. At least in the US. I mean, taxes in Canada are probably different. I don't really know. So anyway.
But don't forget, include your license, include your car insurance, right? You can put all of those in as well.
I didn't think about that. I do include my cell phone. We do cell phone, internet. If you have a dedicated office that you only use for Scentsy, then that can be a percentage of your utilities in your home for
Where
US.
you live, you may require a permit. I don't know what that's like in the States. In here, for sure, you have to have a home permit that you have to apply for through the city. I don't know, every state could be different for that too,
Yeah.
but just so you know, if you
That's good to
claim
be
it
added. Yeah,
and then
that's
your
good.
accountant goes, okay, where's your permit? Just be
Hmm.
prepared for that, that's all.
Alana, what did you mean by include your like insurance for your car?
Well, do you guys, yeah, you guys obviously have to pay
I would
insurance.
talk with your tax person because I have never known
Yeah,
to do that.
I've never.
I would
Okay.
talk to your tax person and see if you're driving for your business, is that something you can write off? Don't assume, but always for everything, always
Not
ask.
like full amount, but I include like, this is what, like I pay mine monthly, for example. So I honestly, I always take, here's all the gas I've spent, here's my car insurance, here's my car washes, and I go, here's my mileage, and he figures out what percentage of those costs, because I pay for an accountant. So what percentage of those costs get done? So it's not gonna be 100% of the cost, but if he goes, if you use your car, now he needs to compare that start to end mileage number and how many miles of that was used for this business, because I have to separate it from my massage business and the Scentsy business. So I have my massage business percentage, my Scentsy business percentage, and then you can take those percentages that are relevant in what they allow for those subcategories. So again, it could be different, but at the very end, you could at least have it and say, hey, these are things I've not considered before. I have some of the information. I know that my annual amount was $1,000. Can I include that in my tax prep when I give that to you this year? It takes an email or a phone call.
Amy,
Yes.
I wanted to go back, just say something about the double host rewards.
Mhm.
One of the things I'm gonna do is, cause I've just worked, this last month trying to get rid of so much stock, and really busted it in December to get rid of stuff, because I know then when the new stuff comes out, everybody wants the new stuff. Your old stuff doesn't matter. So I don't want to collect a lot of stock. So I've already decided on my half price gifts, because they can build up. I'm gonna give them to customers. Like if you put in a $50 order, you're gonna get an extra half price just individually. I'm not posting that or anything like that. But I'm going to, like in my VIP group, I'm going to say any order of $50 or more, you get a surprise, be the first one to grab it. And I'm going to give away those half price gifts, because I just do not want to collect a bunch of stock. Now, if you're really needing stuff, but right now at the end of the season, the changeover, I don't want a bunch of the old stuff, because you do get stuck with it,
A great idea. Give it away. And
That's what
you
I'm gonna
guys
do, because
equal
I
to
don't do
order.
a lot of that. So I think it'll be a big deal. And I think I already talked about this. This is another idea I've come up with, is that I'm getting worn out doing events. At least I did this year. I mean, my husband and I did a lot of events, October, November, and December. Wore us out. We're both like, can we keep doing this level of events? And then I had to analyze, well, why do I do the events? Just exactly what you just talked about, income producing, but also why am I really doing the events? Doing the events really to get new customers. Okay. Now parties pick up, like hopefully they will. But what I think I'm going to do, and I don't know if I told you this, I'm going to do an open house once a month. Once a month. I'm going to make it this last Saturday of every month. And it's going to be set time. And I'm going to invite customers, and I'm going to, again, if they bring a new person, so how am I going to get new people there? Because I'm going to ask the customers to bring new customers. Bring a friend. That's my new customer, right? I'm going to make it a set Saturday, make it themed, something easy, have them come for a couple hours, look at new stuff that's coming out, but also buy anything I have in old stuff. And then really encourage them and really make the gift of bringing someone a big deal. So I'll just keep working on referrals and referrals and referrals, plus getting rid of stuff that I have, showing people the new stuff. So that's something I'm going to start at the end of this month. Just try it. And then also a way to get people see, isn't this fun? You can have a party like this. It's easy. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm not going to make it all glittery and everything, because I want people to see how easy it is to have something at their house. Because I watched that training, the one we got so confused about on December 15th.
Yes.
I ended up watching it. I don't know if anybody else watched it, but man, she was good. And she talked about, this is a party business. You can cut the cheesecake any way you want. It is a party business. And she really talked about different ways to try to have parties, you know, creative ways. And that's what made me think of this open house. So I'll keep everybody posted how it goes. May only get a first couple people the first time. I don't know, you know, but I'm really going to push on people to bring somebody so I can just keep building that. And then my online people that I'd never met, I'm gonna reach out and invite them so that maybe they can have a chance to come see and come smell and say, bring a friend, you know, so that I just really keep that rolling. That's because I just don't see myself being able to do a lot of events this year. It's just so wearing on my husband and I both. It's just really, and I'm gonna have a knee replacement done right after World Tour. So that's another strategy to figure into your business, you know.
Yeah, keep us updated. I'm glad that you were able to, you know, try to think of something else that you could replace, and you knew what your purpose was of doing events, and you're trying to think of a way to replace that. Irene, it was a training by Callie Petticord. Is that her last name now? It was for some directors. I'll see if there's a link that can be shared. I don't know. So I wrote that down just now to look and see, because
another thing for half price, or these double half price, if you are very mindful of your budget, light bulbs. It's always good to have them on hand, because your customers can't use more wax if their light bulbs are out. And I mean, I know we don't need to keep things on hand, but I always keep some light bulbs on hand, if anything. Because if they don't have light bulbs, they can't use their wax.
Or the Scentsy circles to give out as gifts.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially if you mail a thank you and you put a scent circle in there. I don't sell very many scent circles. In fact, I don't sell any really. I try to upsell and sell them a car bar or something, or a car clip, but I definitely send a scent circle as a thank you.
It's a very easy to mail thank you. I do that also. And yeah, as bulbs, like I also have gotten to where I don't need to use these half prices every time, but I will buy bulbs. Even if it's one bulb for $1, that's what I use my half prices for. So guys, we have hit the top of the hour, so we are going to end tonight. I am so thankful that you guys all came. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope you'll invite your team members that you have next month. It's always the first Monday of the month, and I did a drawing a second ago when someone else was talking, and Samantha, you are our winner, so I will be sending you something. I wrote it down for my to-dos for tomorrow, so if you don't get something soon, then I didn't finish my list. Okay, I'll see you guys next month. If you have any questions or anything, just reach out. I'm so happy to have you guys in our group. Bye.
Bye.